I don't have enough musical skill to account for my rage, so I became an actor.
At first, I heard you wanted to be a drummer.
Oh yeah, who doesn't? Everybody wants to be a drummer, or an astronaut, or an apple. I wanted to play the drums when I was young because you got to hit things really loudly, and I must have had some deeply suppressed rage. And that was a good way for me to exercise that rage. But I don't have enough musical skill to account for my rage, so I became an actor. My mother was like a birthday party clown, so she was not in a circus. She would just do local birthday parties. I did a very different kind of job than her because I, act in dramatic movies, and it's a very kind of like serious and more sophisticated form of performing, you could say. When I was in high school, I was just desperate to not be in high school, so I tried everything. Like auditioning for plays, writing movie scripts. I was just trying anything to get a job that a young person could do to get out of school, because I just hated it so much. Yeah, I don't know, I think I had like emotional issues when I was younger, so now it's great because I do a job where you're expected to be emotional and, cry in front of all these other adults, but in school doesn't make you very popular.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Get this straight. Sex is everywhere, okay?
The first good part I had in a movie was this movie, Roger Dodger, and it was like such a misleading experience. So I was like so happy to do that movie, and then like subsequently disappointed when movies weren't as good. After I saw that movie, Roger Dodger, that was like in 2002 or 3 or something, I called my father after that movie. I said, I have to quit acting. I didn't like watching myself. It was so disturbing. I didn't think I did a bad job in it. I just hated looking at myself.
So you haven't seen The Social Network?
We had to go to like some public screening of that where we had to wave and everything. And I was forced to sit down. But I didn't look up. I looked up for a second. All the actors in Zombieland are like so surprised by the reaction that the movie engenders in people, because it's like a horror comedy, but people talk about the movie, fans talk about the movie like it's this important movie in their family. I mean, the script was really good, and the director's good, and the actors are good, but I think the success of it is that it's like a very emotional movie. It's about these people who are trying to form a family, but the surface of the movie is like very funny and like scary, and so I think it allows people to like experience emotion that they're not that they're embarrassed to feel. Yeah. So if you're watching like a horror comedy and it has like kind of like lowbrow jokes, it makes you feel safe, but that you can experience the emotion that you want to experience.
You're obsessed with finals clubs. You have finals clubs OCD, and you need to see someone about it who will prescribe you some sort of medication. You don't care if the side effects may include blindness.
Final clubs, not finals clubs. And there's a difference between being obsessed and being motivated.
Yes, there is.
I didn't really think of it as like a story about this real person, because the script was so good and written by somebody who was known for other kinds of styles, so it didn't exactly feel like doing like the Judy Garland story or something where it's this like celebrated, tortured person. I believe I deserve some recognition from this board.
I'm sorry?
Yes.
I don't understand.
Which part? It just felt like this is an interesting movie that could have just as easily been fiction, because it's a story about, ambition and power and, and creation and stuff like that. And it didn't feel like I was playing a person who's been in like the public psyche for the last, half century.
This situation is fraught with peril.
Come on, give me a break. Her friend is coming. What do I care? I'm not looking for anything. I'm perfectly happy with Sally, and actually, judging from Sally's description, Monica's kind of like a neurotic, unpredictable type. Yeah, it was weird being on a Woody Allen set. I mean, the first set I was on, I don't really think I even spoke to him that much. An assistant director came over and gave me a note, try it this way instead. Normally when you work on a movie with the director, you're discussing the character months beforehand, sending each other videos, and it's this really collaborative process. With Woody Allen, like the first movie I did with him, I didn't even see him. I acted in the scene. Somebody told me where to walk and say the lines. And I did the scene, and then that same person came over and told me to do it faster, and I did it faster. And then then we went to a different location. I didn't even see him. So that was a really surreal experience. And the second movie I did with him, that was much more kind of fulfilling and surreal, because it was a period piece. It was about, there was so many scenes with jazz and, 1920s music.
I don't think that's a very good idea, actually.
No?
I'm seeing someone.
Studied anthropology.
Yeah.
Was it a good way to learn more about the job of actor?
I've played movie villains before, but in anthropology, you're not supposed to judge somebody's behavior. You're supposed to kind of see it in the context of what their culture is. And so as an actor, you're kind of looking at characters without judgment. You know, even in a movie like a Batman movie where it's really good versus evil, you try to figure out, well, it's not just evil. He has some real motivation that we can relate to.
That should be upside down. Now, we know better now, don't we? The devils don't come from hell beneath us, no. No, they come from the sky.
That was written by this guy, Chris Terrio. You know, he wrote the Batman versus Superman. He, like, referenced things in that movie that are so, like, intellectually probing. I don't know how many people watching that movie know his references, or even if they stayed in the final cut of the movie. But that script was, like, one of the most, dense scripts I've read intellectually, because this guy who wrote it is just, like, he's a genius. And it was weird in that kind of a movie to have dialogue that is so sophisticated and like referencing Greek literature and, you know, and philosophy and the great moral struggles of the world, but in this kind of superhero movie. Number 9 again. Did we just do some kind of loop?
How if we just...
Want me to drive?
Such a jerk.
Because I think this is not possible. We can't make turns like this over and over.
We have gone this way, Tom.
Oh my god.
Hello?
When I read the script, I had been married and had a child for a year, so like reading a script about, you know, a guy who gets married and has a child, but is presented as living in a hell, you know, is not the best way to, you know, spend your first year of marriage. In a way, I could relate to the anxieties that the character had. I'm sure everybody who moves in with their girlfriend, you know, has some unconscious anxiety about, you know, this is the last person I'll ever live with. And when you have a child, you know, this is somebody that is going to outlive me, and the anxieties of your own mortality. These are normal, healthy anxieties to have.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.